The weight of crowns? The cultists remained motionless through the night, 200 silent figures arranged in perfect rows before Castle Stormmore's gates. They did not speak. They did not move. They simply watched the castle with eyes that reflected no light, waiting with the patience of stone for the moment when their god would break free. Edrick stood at his chamber window as dawn painted the eastern sky in shades of amber and rose. He had not slept. Sleep meant dreams, and dreams meant the throne room carved from living darkness where a version of himself sat wreathed in green fire. The devourer preferred him conscious anyway, testing his thoughts and probing his memories with relentless curiosity. They brought offerings, the voice whispered in his mind. 7 lambs, 3 children. A barrel of wine mixed with their own blood. They left them at your gates during the night. Edrick's jaw tightened. I didn't see them do it. No, but I did. Through their eyes, through the corruption that marks them. I see through all who bear my touch now. Did you think you could cage me completely? I am vast, king. You hold only a fraction of what I am. Then why do you need the rest of your fragments? Edrick asked quietly. If you're so vast already? The devourer's amusement rippled through his consciousness like oil on water. Because wholeness is power. Because I remember what it was to command armies of corruption, to reshape the world according to my will. Because 3,000 years is a long time to hunger. A knock at the door interrupted the internal dialogue. Come, Edrick called, grateful for the distraction. Rose entered, still wearing yesterday's travel-stained clothes. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. She carried 2 plates of food and set them on the small table near the window. You need to eat. I'm not hungry. I don't care. Rose pulled out a chair and sat, gesturing to the other seat. The devourer wants you disconnected from your body. Every time you skip a meal, you give it what it wants. Edrick wanted to argue, but Rose's logic was sound. He sat and picked up a piece of bread, forcing himself to chew and swallow despite feeling nothing. No hunger, no satisfaction, just the mechanical act of eating. The fragment pulsed with annoyance. Commander Aldwin found the offerings at the gates this morning, Rose said, her voice carefully neutral. She had them burned. The children were already dead. Edrick's hand tightened on the bread. How long ago? Hours, maybe a day. It's hard to tell with the corruption. Rose met his eyes. The cultists aren't attacking. They're making sacrifices. They're worshipping you. Not me, it. Edrick set down the bread, his appetite, artificial as it was, completely gone. They're worshipping the thing I'm trying to keep caged. Trying, the devourer agreed. But for how long? Your commander evacuates villages. Your soldiers calculate how to kill you. Your sister measures the distance to your throat with every glance. They all know this cannot last. Shut up, Edrick muttered. Rose's expression tightened. What's it saying? The truth. Edrick pushed away from the table and moved back to the window. Below, the cultists stood in their perfect rows, unmoving. It's saying what we all know, that I'm a temporary solution at best. Then we make that solution permanent. Rose joined him at the window. Shamaz is in the archives. Illyria has sent word to the Urith stronghold. We're looking for ways to strengthen your control. There aren't any. Edrick touched the center of his chest, where the dim green luminescence pulsed beneath his shirt. Aldrich lasted decades carrying just the heart fragment. I have all 5 pieces. The weight is... He stopped, searching for words that could encompass the constant pressure, the relentless presence that knew his every thought before he finished forming it. It's like drowning in shallow water. I can keep my head up, but I can never rest. Never stop fighting. One moment of weakness, one instant where I let my guard down, and it's over. Rose was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. Do you remember the night after Kirkwall, when I woke up screaming and you sat with me until dawn? Edrick nodded. He'd been 17, still uncertain how to comfort a traumatized child who'd watched her family burn. You told me that surviving wasn't about being strong every moment, Rose continued. You said it was about finding one reason to keep going, just one, and holding on to it when everything else fell apart. You were my reason then. Let me be yours now. The devourer stirred, curious and calculating. She loves you. Not as a sister loves a brother, though she tells herself that lie. She would die for you. She would kill for you. She would even kill you if she believed it necessary. Such devotion is useful. Edrick felt a surge of protective fury. Don't. What? Rose's hand moved toward her sword instinctively. Nothing. Edrick forced his expression to neutrality. It's trying to use you against me, trying to make me afraid of what I might do. Good. Rose's hand relaxed. Fear means you're still fighting. Fear means you're still you. A commotion from the courtyard drew their attention. Edrick leaned closer to the window and saw Commander Aldwin striding toward the gates, her armor gleaming in the morning light. Behind her marched 50 soldiers in full battle gear. What's she doing? Rose breathed. They watched as Aldwin stopped 20 paces from the gates. Her voice carried clearly in the morning air, amplified by the stone walls. You stand on the land of Stormmore. You have brought death to our gates. You have 1 hour to disperse. If you remain, you will be removed by force. The cultists did not respond, did not even acknowledge they'd heard. They simply continued their vigil, 200 pairs of dead eyes fixed on the castle. Aldwin waited a full minute, then turned and marched back toward the keep. The soldiers followed, their formation tight and disciplined. She's giving them a chance to leave, Rose said. But she knows they won't. They can't. Edrick felt the Devourer's attention shift toward the cultists below, a predator assessing its tools. They're bound to it now. Their corruption runs too deep. Leaving would mean abandoning their purpose, and they'd rather die than do that. Truth, the Devourer confirmed. They are mine utterly, body, mind, and soul. They will wait as long as necessary, weeks, months, years, until you break, or until I find another way free. There is no other way, Edrick said aloud. I'm your prison now. There's no lock to pick, no bars to break. You are human. Humans break. Aldrich thought he was strong enough to carry me. He screamed himself to death. You think you are different? I am different, because I know what you are, because I chose this prison knowing exactly what it would cost. The Devourer's laughter rolled through his mind like thunder. Choice. You cling to that word as if it matters, but choice is an illusion, little king. You chose to descend into old Ravenhold. You chose to accept my fragments. But did you choose the bloodline you were born into? Did you choose the burden Aldrich placed on your ancestors 3,000 years ago? You are here because you were always meant to be here, because the cycle demands it. Edrick felt something shift inside him. Not the fragment's influence, but a realization crystallizing from days of constant mental warfare. You're afraid. What? You're afraid. Edrick turned away from the window, his mind racing. You keep trying to convince me this was inevitable, that I was always meant to be your vessel. But if that were true, you wouldn't need to convince me of anything. You'd just take control. I am patient. You're afraid, Edrick repeated, because Illyria was right. The king became the blade. I fused with you on my terms, not yours. And now you're trapped in a cage made of your own essence, controlled by a consciousness that refuses to surrender. You're not waiting for me to break. You're hoping I'll break, because you don't know what happens if I don't. The Devourer's response was a wave of pure rage that sent Edrick staggering. His vision blurred green. His heart hammered against his ribs. For a terrifying moment, he felt his control slip. Rose caught him as he fell, lowering him into the chair. Edrick! Edrick, look at me! He fought to focus on her face. Rose, his sister by choice, his reason to keep fighting. The Devourer raged and thrashed, but Edrick held on to that single point of clarity and slowly, painfully, forced the creature back. I'm here, he gasped. I'm still here. Rose's hands trembled as she gripped his shoulders. What happened? I made it angry. Edrick managed a weak smile. Which means I'm winning. Footsteps in the corridor announced Shamaz's arrival. The old healer entered without knocking, his staff pulsing with silver light. I felt the surge from 3 floors down. What did you do? Challenged its narrative. Edrick straightened in the chair, his breathing slowly returning to normal. It wants me to believe I was always meant to be its vessel, that Aldrich's choice 3,000 years ago predetermined everything, but that's not true. I chose this. I chose to make myself a prison, and that choice is what terrifies it. Shamaz studied him with sharp eyes. The Devourer is ancient and vast. It does not experience fear. It does now. Edrick touched his chest, feeling the fragment's sullen presence. Because for 3,000 years, it's been the one in control. It chose when to influence its vessels. It chose when to push and when to wait. But I took that choice away. I accepted all the fragments at once, merged them with the sealing blade, and made the whole thing subject to my will. It's not imprisoned in stone or scattered across bloodlines anymore. It's imprisoned in me, and I'm not playing by its rules. A dangerous game, Shamaz warned. Provoking it risks exactly the kind of surge we just witnessed. Maybe, Edrick stood, testing his balance. Steady enough. But I'd rather risk a battle I might win than accept a surrender disguised as inevitability. A bell began tolling from the watchtower, 3 sharp strikes followed by 2 long ones. The signal for an urgent assembly in the great hall. Rose was already moving toward the door. That's Commander Aldwin's signal. Something's happened. They descended the stairs quickly, Shamaz keeping pace despite his age. The great hall was filling with castle staff, soldiers, and nobles who'd taken refuge within the walls. Commander Aldwin stood on the raised platform at the hall's far end, her expression grim. The room fell silent as Edrick entered. Every eye turned toward him. He felt their fear, their uncertainty, their desperate hope that their king could somehow save them from an ancient evil none of them truly understood. "They look at you and see their doom," the devourer whispered. "They know what you carry. They know what happens when you fail." Edrick ignored the voice and made his way to the platform. Aldwin stepped aside, yielding the space to him. "Your Majesty," she said quietly, "we have word from the Northern Scouts. You need to hear this." Edrick nodded and turned to face the assembled crowd. "Report." Aldwin's voice carried clearly through the hall. "The cultists at our gates are not alone. Similar groups have appeared at every major stronghold in the kingdom. Thornhaven, Riverwatch, the Urith stronghold in Silverthorn Forest. Everywhere we have strength, they have sent watchers." A murmur of fear rippled through the crowd. "How many total?" Edrick asked. "Conservative estimate? 2,000, possibly more." Aldwin's jaw tightened. "They're coordinating, waiting for something." "Waiting for you," the devourer confirmed. "Waiting for the moment when the prison breaks and their god walks free." Edrick felt the weight of 2,000 eyes, living and dead, focused on him. 2,000 cultists who would stop at nothing to free the creature he'd imprisoned. 2,000 believers who saw him not as a king, but as the vessel for their ancient deity's return. "We fortify," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos in his mind. "We prepare for siege, and we find a way to make this prison permanent." "And if we can't?" The question came from Lord Brennan, an older nobleman who'd taken shelter in the castle. "If the prison fails?" Edrick met the man's eyes. "Then Lady Rose has her orders, and my soldiers have theirs. I will not allow the devourer to walk free in this world, even if preventing that costs me everything." The silence that followed was absolute. Then, slowly, Aldwin drew her sword and knelt. "For Stormmore, for the king who chose to be our shield." One by one, the soldiers in the hall followed suit, then the nobles, then the servants, until everyone in the great hall knelt except Edrick, Rose, and Shamaz. Edrick looked out at his people, his kingdom, and felt the terrible weight of what he'd chosen. He was their shield now, their prison, their last defense against an ancient evil that had waited 3 millennia for this moment. The devourer stirred in his chest, watching through his eyes, and for the first time since old Ravenhold, Edrick felt its uncertainty. "You cannot hold me forever," it whispered. "No," Edrick agreed silently, "but I can hold you long enough." Long enough for what, he didn't know. But as he looked at Rose's fierce determination and Shamaz's quiet strength, as he felt his people's faith and fear, Edrick made himself a promise. He would find a way, or he would die trying. Outside, 200 cultists stood vigil in the morning sun, patient as stones, waiting for their god to break free. And deep in the archives below the castle, Shamaz's notes lay scattered across an ancient desk, covered in theories and calculations about how to make a temporary prison permanent. The answer was there, somewhere in 3,000 years of history and magic. They just had to find it before time ran out.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.